Welcome to Grade 3 Geometry. The first thing we're going to learn in geometry is about angles. After we're done with learning about angles, you should be able to define or recognize the following. The following items are angle, intersect, intersection, acute, right, obtuse, straight, reflex, full, quadrant, vertex, zenith, nadir, protractor. So those are all important words that we're going to learn. And as we come across those words, we'll highlight them here to see that we have learned what they are. You're also going to be able to measure angles, construct angles, identify and name angles as either acute, right, obtuse, straight, reflex, or full. So let's mark those off. Acute, right, obtuse, straight, reflex, or full, and we have this word angle we've already seen. We will also be able to identify the quadrants of a circle and explain what angles are and where angles come from. So what are angles and how are they named? Well, let's first define what an angle is. An angle is the space between two intersecting lines or rays measured in degrees. Well, what does that mean? If we look at this picture down here, we have this line or this ray and this line or ray. Now there is this is an arc, and this is the angle. This location here is called the vertex. So this whole thing is an angle, two lines being intersecting each other. And so an angle is the space between two intersecting lines. This line or ray and this line or ray, they intersect, means they meet at a place called the vertex. This little marker here is an angle mark, we call it an arc. And so the angle is this space in between. So we've now also defined what angle is. Intersect, well, we've also seen us using that. Intersect means to meet or cross over the place where the meeting or crossover occurs. So intersect means to meet. So these two lines intersect. These two lines intersect here at this place called the vertex. The intersection is this place where they meet. Now when it forms, so the next word is intersection. It's the place where the meeting or crossing over occurs. That's an intersection. But when it's an angle, it has another special name, the vertex. The point at the intersection of two lines. Let's now talk about each of the different types of angles. The first of them is an acute angle. So we have different types of angles. There's an acute angle like this, and we can see the angle's kind of small. It's almost like an alligator mouth. That's called acute. And the definition of it is it's an angle less than 90 degrees, and we'll talk more about that as we go along. The second type of angle is a right angle, where the angle is exactly 90 degrees. Imagine the alligator opening its mouth. It probably can't open its mouth any farther than that. But you see there's this specialness to it, that it forms the corner, or like the corner of a room or a corner of a circle. That's 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is if we took this angle and we made it larger and larger and larger, and we kept bending it even further. And that's obtuse. It's an angle that's greater than 90 degrees or greater than the corner of a room. So we could see if we had this line segment down here and we swung it up to this a little bit, it would be an acute. If we swung it even further, it would become a right. And if we went even further than that, it would be an obtuse angle. Now we could go further still until it forms a straight line, in which case we would call that a straight angle. And what we lose sight of is that there is that intersection or vertex right there. So we swung it all the way around. Now the reflex angle is the angle that measures between 180 and 360 degrees. Now really what that means is this, is that if we go back to our acute angle, we have our 45-degree angle. This is the reflexive angle, R. This is the reflexive angle, R. This is the reflexive angle, R. And you notice with a straight angle, the reflexive angle and the straight angle are equal to each other. And so you notice now we've labeled that as the reflexive angle. And for the last angle, the full angle means it traces out a full circle for 360 degrees. So those are the different types of angles. Now, so where do angles come from? Well, the first thing I'd like us to look at is this circle here. We notice the numbers as they're starting here: 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Oh-ho, this is that room corner we were talking about. And we count by tens again up to 180, which forms a straight line across. And we keep going to 270. And we go another 90 to 360. Now, what should be obvious is if we go to 90 degrees, which is here, and we go another 90 degrees, well, that's 180 degrees, which takes us to here. And if we go another 90 degrees, that takes us to 270 degrees. And if we go to another 90 degrees, that's 360 degrees. So this whole thing is a circle. And a circle has 360 degrees. We use this symbol, that's the degree symbol. Or if we write out the word, there's the word, degrees. This circle now, we can see there's a cross that goes through it. And each one of these is 90 degrees. And whenever we have a 90-degree angle, we call it a right angle. 90 degrees equals a right angle. We use this little symbol that looks like a square to indicate that it's 90 degrees. This here is the vertex of any angle. So if this is our angle, that's the vertex. But if the angle were this from the vertex outward, if it were this angle, the green angle, well, then it would be 50 degrees. The blue angle would be 90 degrees. So the vertex is at the center. Now, there's a special name for some of these that you're going to learn and use throughout math as you get older and older, all the way up into college. And this is, if we take this circle, we've divided it into 4. The prefix word quad means 4. So a quadruped is an animal with 4 feet. A quadrilateral is a 4-sided figure. So there are 4 quadrants to a circle. Quadrant, quad equals 4. It's one of the 4 quarters of a circle, and they get numbered. And the numbers of those quadrants, this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. So those are our quadrants. And lastly, we have a protractor. It's a tool for measuring angles. Now, what I didn't tell you is that this circle is a protractor. So let's see how we use a protractor. Let's suppose we have this ray and this ray. They intersect right here to form this angle. We take the protractor and we move the center of the circle to the vertex of the angle, where the 2 lines meet, the intersection. And then we turn the protractor so that the 0 is on one of the lines, like so. So you can see the protractor in the previous is oriented this way. Well, we have the two lines. We take the protractor, this plastic see-through circle, we set it on top of the two rays, and we move it so that its center of the circle is on the vertex. And then we rotate the protractor until 0 is on one of the rays. And then we can measure the angle. So we go this way, we went 10 degrees, 20 degrees, and there's 30 degrees. It's not 30 degrees. It looks like it's halfway between 20 and 30, maybe just a little bit more than halfway between 20 and 30, so maybe we would say it's 26 degrees. And that's how we measure an angle. In our next installment, we'll learn a little bit more about why circles have 360 degrees and why we measure angles around a circle.